Let me start with a question. So think back to the last time you surprised yourself. Maybe you said something in the heat of the moment that you didn't really mean, but you said it. Or maybe you found yourself procrastinating on something that you knew it was important and you couldn't quite explain why. Or maybe you woke up from um, like one of those dreams. I mean, you know the ones like not scary, but like not exactly pleasant too. It's just very very strange. And for some reason, you kept thinking about it for, I mean, all day. That all of that is your psyche at work. And here's the thing: it's not just your mind in the way we talk about it casually, but way more deeper, older, and mysterious. It's part of a philosopher puzzle, part of a spiritual idea, part of a scientific map, and today we're going to step inside it, the psyche. We're gonna take a little journey. So first, back through history to see how the idea of the psyche began. Um, then we're gonna look into how it evolved. Then we'll explore the way modern psychology understands it: the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious. And I'll show you why learning about it can actually change the way you live your life. Because your psyche is not just something you have, but it is who you actually are, which is extremely interesting. All right, so let's go way back, like way back to the ancient Greece. Now, imagine this world: no neuroscience, no psychology, no therapy, but people understood life through stories, through philosophy, and through observation. And they had this word, which is called the psyche. But it didn't mean mind, which is mind, the way we think of it now. In fact, it wasn't even about thoughts at all. Psyche literally means breath, as in the breath of life. Very, very interesting. So back then, breath was a pretty powerful image because if someone's breathing, they're alive. If they stop, which means that psyche has left their body. So psyche was basically that which makes you alive. And here's where it gets even more interesting. In Greek mythology, Psyche was also a character, a mortal woman of extraordinary beauty who fell in love with Eros, the god of love. And their story, it's a very wild one. She told never to look at him directly, but one night she lights a lamp and gazes at him while he's sleeping. And of course, this being a myth, like disaster follows. She loses him, and to win him back, she has to complete a series of impossible trials, like sorting a mountain of seeds overnight, traveling to the underworld, retrieving forbidden treasures. But eventually, she succeeds. She's reunited with Eros and become immortal, the goddess of the soul. The symbolism of this is clear as day. The soul grows through struggle. The inner self is shaped by trials. The psyche is not static, but psychic transformed. Then came all the philosophers. Plato, one of the OGs of Western philosophy. Imagine the psyche as a, a charioteer guiding two horses. One horse was noble, spirited, aiming for truth and wisdom. The other one, it's like wild, unruly, drawn to a temptation and pleasure. So that the charioteer, that's you, has to keep both in check, steering towards a balanced, meaningful life. Aristotle had a slightly different take. For him, the psyche was simply the essence of life. Plants had a vegetative psyche, animals have a sensitive psyche, and humans, us, we lucked out, had a rational psyche. We could think, reason, and imagine. In other words, in the ancient world, psyche wasn't just about thoughts and emotion, but about what makes a life alive. So let's fast forward 1,000 years or so into the Middle Age. Here, religion dominates how people think about human nature. In Christianity, psyche and soul become almost interchangeable. Your psyche is the eternal part of you, the part that goes on after death, the part that's judged. And here's the key difference. In this period, psyche isn't something you study, but it's something that you save. It's about morality, re- repentance, and salvation. You don't explore your psyche to understand yourself better, but you guard it to protect it from sin. Then around the 1600s, something kind of shifts a little bit. So enter the Rene Descartes, which is the guy who said, I think, therefore I am. This is where psyche starts to shift from being purely spiritual to being more mental. The Enlightenment era was all about reason, observation, and the idea that you could study the human experience. So now psyche starts moving towards mind rather than soul. But still, we're not yet at modern psychology. That comes next. So in the late 1800s and early 1900s, psychology stopped breaking away from philosophy. Freud, Sigmund Freud, comes along and says, all right, there's no more to your mind that what you're aware of. He breaks the psyche into three parts, which is the iceberg where we're known of the id, ego, and superego. So for those who don't know, the ID, it's your primal drive, the part that says like, I want this now. I want this phone now. That is your id. The ego is the mediator between what you want and what's possible, and the superego is your internal moral judge, which is very unconscious. So Carl Jung, once a Freud student, says, okay, Freud, that makes sense, but that's not the whole picture. And Carl Jung kind of adds more depth and layers to it. Sort of, he kind of differentiated to four different things: the persona, the shadow, the anima slash animus, or the self. Let's go one by one. The persona is the social mask you wear. The shadow is the parts of yourself you reject or hide. The anima or the animus is your inner balance of feminine and masculine qualities. And the self is the whole, the integrated you right now who's listening to me. So young version of the psyche, it's like a vast inner world, partly personal, partly collective, filled with symbols, dreams, and archetypes. Okay, so where are we now? Today, psyche usually means the whole of the human mind, conscious and unconscious. We often divide it into three parts: the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind. So let's go through one by one. The conscious mind is the spotlight of awareness. Right now, you're using it to listening to me right now. The subconscious mind is like the storage room. It's where you keep memories, habits, skills ready to be pulled up when needed, like riding a bicycle. In young age, you learn how to ride a bicycle. Then it's been a while that did not ride a bicycle, and now, like let's say 10 years later, you might be rusty, but you still could ride the bicycle. So that's the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind is the hidden engine. So it shapes how you react, often without you realizing. So a lot of like projection, um, a lot of as psychotherapists we call it defense mechanisms, which is very interesting, like repression, regression, and all those kind of stuff. Like how you judge the whole world, technically. So I like to think of it like a house. So your conscious mind is like the living room. You keep it tidy, but people see it. Your subconscious is the attic, a little dusty, but full of old memories and treasure. And your unconscious is the basement, dark, mysterious, maybe even a little scary. Don't know what you put in there, but it's where the foundations are, the unconscious. So why does it matter? So here, why understanding the psyche changes things. That argument you have with your partner over something small, maybe it's not about the dishes, maybe it's an old pattern from your childhood. That reoccurring dream about being chased, maybe it's your unconscious telling you about something you've been avoiding in your waking life. That job keep sabotaging. Maybe your shadow part doesn't believe you deserve success yet. When you understand the psyche, you stop seeing these things as random. You start seeing like patterns, which what is what people call. So, how do you actually do this? The first thing I would say, I mean, I call it the JMT. The first thing is, I mean, all three of it, JMT is not crazy at all. The first thing, J, it's journaling. So it's not like, oh, dear diary, XYZ, what happened today? Not that kind of journaling. But you ask yourself, like, so today, maybe you get mad of something. What lead to this? Or maybe you have an argument. What am I avoiding in that argument? What keeps showing up in all these scenarios? So by journaling all those stuff, let your thoughts write everything down. It's a very, very good way to unleash your unconscious, which is very interesting. JMTM, which is mindfulness. So having a lot of mindfulness really matters a lot. It gives you a lot of situation awareness, and most importantly, like it helps you to catch thoughts and feelings in real time without any judgment at all. Very, very useful. T, therapy. Having someone trained to walk you through your inner world with you, it's something very encouraging. It's not easy. It's not easy to open up yourself, to allow others to come into your heart and kind of like go through this motion together. It's not easy at all. However, having someone trained to guide you through this process, it's very, very mind blowing and helpful because sometimes while you're journaling, you might still be avoiding yourself, not wanting to believe that the thoughts is coming into your mind and writing it down to the paper. So having someone um, challenge you substantially. It's gonna be hard and a little bit of pain, but they're like a mirror to you. They definitely will observe your tone, your body language, but having them to observe you, it's not necessarily a bad thing because that actually might give you more awareness about yourself, isn't it? Which is very, very interesting. So here we are. The psyche began as breath, so it became the soul, it turned into the mind, and now it's this intricate blend of biology, memory, symbols, and mystery. The truth is that you are not just the thought you notice, you are not just the memories you can recall, but you are the whole house. You are the house, the living room, the attic, the basement. So exploring your psyche isn't about fixing yourself. Very important. You're not fixing yourself because no one is broken. You're just hurt. So the goal here is to meet yourself. And I promise that the most important meeting you'll ever have, which is to meet yourself.